Hello again. The time keeps moving along, and I said I wanted to give you a definition of what a restricted access token is, and also to correct that sentence in the help file. Okay, so first off, there's this thing that's confused me since the beginning. Second off, and I'll put these links in the video description, I found a web page online which attempts to shed some light on the use of this flag. Of course, there's difficulty with the English and the use of the word SID, or the acronym is the use of that acronym is implied, in any case. He is right in that he points out that the function, the naming is very misleading, and he gives a name. He gives a suggested renaming for that. Right, here it is. Restricted SIDs are more complicated. More complicated than what? More complicated than disabled ones, which has been explained up here, because of their name. Restricted SIDs are intended to be the list of SIDs that you want your token to use to gain access to an object. Those are the ones you want to use to gain access. And disabled ones, or the ones of this type, cannot be used for any access granting. What this says is that the SID, and I'm not going to use SID anymore. I'm going to start calling them security context entry. The security context entries SID is meant for the purpose of denial only. The rest you can skip, and that would be enough. You could go on, as I've done here. First, I define security context list entry is an SID qualified by a D-word attribute in an access token's non-restricted or restricted groups list. Those are the two groups here. Restricted and non-restricted. Now those are called groups, and group and what is it called? What's that function call again? Get something information. Now, really, this is the one that in the example that's coming up, I should have used this one to save myself a lot of heartache. But anyway, this here structure says token, groups, and privileges, right? That would seem to indicate that this is a list of groups. However, you shall notice in the list of just groups, the count is 13, okay? And whether or not these are all groups is anybody's guess. However, in the groups and privileges list, the count is 14. And why does it count 14? Because it includes one extra entry, which is me. And I'm not a group. So I can definitely tell you that this list is the one you want to look at for the purpose of your security context. These two groups, non-restricted and restricted, form two security context lists as I've defined them, and the non-restricted security context list, I don't have any restricted in this one, typically will contain yourself. You could put yourself in the restricted list, but it wouldn't be of any use. And the reason is how the thing works. This is how it works. There's the two lists, okay? And you're trying to access some file. So forget about privileges. Here we've got list 1 and list 2. Now, one is to consider these two lists as completely independent security contexts. Okay? So this is in itself a security context to be measured against the access control entries existing in the securable object, and this context, within this context, access may or may not be granted. Similarly, in this one, what the system does is it treats these two separately and does exactly the same computation that it would normally do for either one of these things. And if both of these contexts grant the requested access, then the access is granted. If either one fails to grant the requested access, then it fails. Typically, what you do is put some elements into this restricted groups part, thereby reducing assuming that these are, that these are all happy, good contexts, right? If these are all happy good things, then if we put fewer of them in here, then the probability of this one being granted access is slightly less than this one. See? So what it is like a bottleneck. The way that the guy on the website has worded it is not exactly correct, but it does amount to the same thing. The access check consists of two phases. The first phase being checking of regular SIDs, so there's no such thing as regular, contained in the token against the DACL. And if access has not been denied, the restricted SIDs against access allowed in the DACA. Now, that's also not correct. The restricted SIDs may be checked against access denied, not only allowed. Okay? Access granted will consist of the most restricted of the two. No. I don't think that that's correct, and that's not what the help says. The help says something similar. The system performs two access checks, one using the token's enabled SIDs, and the other using the restricting SIDs. Access is granted only if both checks allow the requested access rights. It says almost exactly the same thing. Surely, if one doesn't approve, it doesn't matter which order you do it, right? If access is not granted after checking list the non-restricted ones, then access is not granted, right? So it doesn't matter. If you did it in the reverse direction, you get the same. In the reverse order, you get the same answer. Now, I don't know if I've proven the second bit where I've claimed that this security check is in exactly the same way as this one. I might have in my experiments, but I only just recently got the thing to go because it's being stupid. I was just walking through the groups part, right? What I wanted to demonstrate was that one could restrict access without having to, revoke anything, only by adding things to the restricted list. And that's all I'm doing here, adding restrictions, but I'm not adding any removals, as I call disabled. Disabled things are those ones that get the evil flag. The evil flag, again, being a thing that is still active, but only active in its role for denying. Now, you would not believe how difficult it is to try to come up with a scenario wherein you can actually reduce the accessibility to objects by simply adding things to the restricted list. I think. because you see the mistake I was making over and over again, because I was using this list instead of the other, was I was never adding myself to the restricted groups, right? Well, I don't know. I still don't understand why. But once I added myself, everything was okay. No, I'm still not 100% sure. See, what would happen would be I would get once I did get it going, I was adding like more and more and more things to the restricted part, right? Until it finally started to run. I was able to launch this command, but then there would be no environment. You couldn't run any programs or anything, and so I figured it's not acquiring my environment, and that's probably correct. Because if this is the token I'm using, and I'm passing on, right? Yes. See, well, I still don't know for sure. Anyway, once I added myself to the restricted list, everything seemed to go okay, except there was still no restriction. Here's my setup. I try to come up with just anything that could make one thing more restrictive than another. Here's the executive club, okay? And I got rid of all that craziness, and I have some extra video to tack on to the end of this that shows that demonstrated why I was constantly in the executive club. And I didn't want to be in the executive club. I wanted the executive club to be something that I would omit from the restricted groups, right? So that that security context would not allow the access I wanted. But it didn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm a member of the executive club or not. If I set this thing up correctly, which is what I finally figured out how to set this up correctly. To demonstrate that purely not disabling any memberships or anything, no extra, used for deny only context control entries. I could reduce the access of a token just by adding some stuff to that bottleneck. And it's probably easier than what I did because I probably didn't need to add as many things. This is the executive club of which I am a member. Okay. This is the administrators thing, of which I am also a member. However, in my non-restricted groups part, it's used for deny only. So none of these allows would apply to it. Okay, now that's what I wanted. So administrators full access, but poor old Alan can't use it, right? Executive club full access, okay, and little Alan can read but not write. So, and then what I had was if the name before I figured this out. Yeah, no. Before I'd figured this out, I was just incrementally adding more and more groups to the restricted groups until something happened. Then I figured this out, and then I realized, okay, if I didn't have this line. In fact, I should take it out just to show you, because this is quite funny. How do I comment that away? Okay. Now, here, I'm adding everything but the executive club to the restricted groups, to these, okay? So now, this was my theory. No executive club, sure, but there's Alan, right? And administrator, but administrator is only for deny, right? You know, it's only for deny in the non-restricted groups. Okay, now this takes some thought to figure it out. In the non-restrictive groups, right? In here, there is an entry, administrators, and it can only be used for denial. Well, there are no denials here, but none of these apply. Okay, so I'm not getting anything from there. In the no, I didn't disable this one. This one did not get put into the, did not get put into the, this part, okay? So this access would not be granted by this contact, okay? Even though it's still fully enabled in this context, in this one, it's not. So I should not get any extra access for this. As far as being Alan, in the restricted context, I have this mini access, and so that should be all I get, right? Compile the program. Did I just compile the program? Okay. Maybe I should change the color. What's white? Bright blue is red, green, blue. And that'll be 4A, 8, 9. Oh, no, I got the background. Whoops. Yeah, the foreground I want white. Okay. So, PS toke. Here I am, my restricted token, okay? Now, you can ignore this part. It's repeated anyway in the non-restricted. Because I didn't deny anything. Now, first, there's Alan, who gets his minimal access. Then there's this other stuff. Now there's the executive club here, which grants full access for this thing. Okay, but administrators deny. So as far as the group A is concerned, you would think it's so funny. You would think it doesn't grant full access. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Now, as far as the restricted groups go, you see, the third restricted group is built-in administrators, full access, right? Even though there's no executive club in the restricteds, this thing still has full access. This file's taken a hit. See, when I did that, I was mad. Because this guy can do that too. Alright. Okay. Oh, I'd like to save that color, but what was it? Something F. Now the key is, what happened was that I didn't realize that, or what I had assumed, I should say, was that the flags from the original group would be transferred into the non-restricted area. That is, that if this was a deny-only entry, that it would be a deny-only. If the original one is a deny-only entry, then it's going to be put into as a deny-only. Sorry. If I take a deny-only entry and add it to the restricted groups, right? I should have read. I mean, if I read the help carefully, I should have known that it would retain that characteristic, but it doesn't. It gets fully activated. So what was originally deny only for administrators becomes a fully active administrators entry in the restricted groups, right? But now the safeguard is that there's still the full denial one here. So I'm not going to gain. I can't gain anything as far as that one group is concerned. Because although this one will suddenly say yes, this one will still say no. However, this one also contained the Happy Club, or the Executive Club. So this one was saying full access for Executive Club, and this one was saying full access for Administrator. Both said full access, and so I got full access. But if I don't add administrators to the restricted groups, recompile again, then I get what I expected. I missed something, a bracket somewhere. Or, add? No, add. If it's not that, and, is that what I had? Oh, that. Yeah, add. Okay, so I'm adding everything to the restricted groups, the second security context, everything but the Executive Club and administrators. Now it should work as expected, and it does. Now I want that color. What was that color? I wanted blue, which was 9, but I wanted 9 in the background, 9 Now, I should still be allowed to view this according to the security rule. First, let me show you my restricted token here. I am in my, well, let's go from this starting point. There's me. There's this stuff. All is the same. Executive Club, full access. Administrators deny, nothing from there. So, non-restricted group says full access due to the Executive Club membership, of which I am a member. Now let's look at the non-restricted group. Non-restricted group has these things: authenticated users. It should have me too. Where am I? At the end, probably. Here I am. Yeah, I added myself at the end. Okay, so now the only thing that grants me any access in this list is the fact that Alan is included here. So now I should have only read access. I don't get anything from this. I don't get anything from this, from either group. I would get full access from the non-restricted security context, but I'm not getting any of that access from this second group's context. So what I get is exactly like that article said, the most restrictive of the two. So if I try to edit that file, cannot modify. Right? Considers it read-only. And this one can still do what it does. I've already demonstrated that this thing this thing, not because of it being an administrator, because as far as being administrator, none of this applies. As far as being Alan, it can read, but this one is still a member of the executive club, and there's nothing else to compare with executive club with, so this one gets full control to that particular folder. So that demonstrates how a restricted token works. The restriction is a bottleneck. The SIDs, the name of these things, which they call restrict, the help calls them what is it called? They have a name in that function. They call this restricted SIDs, right? That name is wrong, and I agree with that other guy, but the name should really be restricting SIDs. So these are this collection forms a bottleneck, so it has the effect of restricting access. It can't grant. This can't grant any more access than you would get from here, right? Because of the comparison. Even if you elevate the privilege of something in here to full privilege in here, it takes the worst case of the two. So you can't gain anything. So the whole thing amounts to a bottleneck, and that's how restricted SID works. A restricted SID, a restricted access token works. The restriction is this dual comparison of two lists. All right. Now, I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, send me a message and I'll try and explain again and maybe make a better, simpler example. See you. Oh, and there's something to follow this. Okay. I thought I want to record this. Going back to this famous directory, what I've done here, well, first let me just demonstrate one thing. Let me just remove before, while I was watching that video there, it's uploading now actually, I hadn't noticed that for some reason I'm in the executive club, although I remember removing myself from that list of users, and let's verify that. Executive club. Oh no. What did I remove myself? Okay. Well, now I have to log off and log on again. I have to take that because right now I'm able to go through here. You see, but if I remove the executive club, okay, no, I can't go in there. It'll override and give me access back if I want. I'm not. That's not my goal here. I know to get in there. But I am a member of administrators, but my access token prohibits me from using that right. That group is has that flag. So now, what this flag means is that this entry in my access token is to be used for is available for the use of denying, and I've tested that. I made an explicit denial for administrators, and that caused me to be denied access. So this is certainly working for deny and not for access. So that's doing what it's supposed to do. Now I'm in the executive club and I shouldn't be. I don't know why I was. Now I do think I know. But I have to log off. So first I'm going to log off. Okay, well I finally managed to reboot. I forgot I was still uploading, so I had to wait. And lo and behold, I'm still a member of the executive club. I checked in control panel, and I'm definitely not in there as a user. So somehow these aren't all users. Some of these are those principal things, right? Security principle. When we look at the types of things that can be put in there, those are the types. Now, this is the user administrator. It's not administrator group. I'm going to see something here. No, it's got that little arrow down, which means that it's logged off. So whatever that thing is, it's not logged on, and it's not me, because I'm logged on. So I couldn't access the directory, and so I did the override. And now what I've done is I want to keep myself out of it. So I removed myself and I added the executive club, just for reading, no writing. So I should be able to open a file, but if I try and save it, it shouldn't let me. Yeah, it won't let me save it. So the reason I'm allowed access here is because of my membership in the executive club. Now I'd like to find out why I'm a member, and what I propose to do is remove these one at a time until I stop being a member of the executive club. And let me see what's in my list here. There's this none thing. I don't know what that is. Everyone is not listed in that list. More users. Interactive. It could be terminal server. I could be a terminal server user associated with an account. Okay, now there's this logon ID. Local authentication, and I still have, I'm still not sure what this is. One thing, if you're someone who is familiar with your two powers, you'll note that that is a power of 2. And in hex, that number happens to be 2000. And that to me looks more like a flag than anything else. Now 16, according to my notes, where are my notes? It's over here somewhere. There are a bunch of things in WinNT.h. Spell out what some of these things are. No, I don't see a 16 there. These ones, 15, that's a regular user, by the way. 15 hex is 21 decimal, and everyone's SID is 21 here. So those are they call the non-unique IDs, or NT domain SIDs. 40 and decimal. Maybe 64. Oh, here's a 64. So that's the LAN manager authentication. But whatever. Oh, here it is. It says so. Other organization cannot be filtered. I don't know what that means. I wonder why. So yeah, I was expecting that nobody could be a member of that group, but there are no actual users listed. Where'd it go? I thought I just had it up there. There's only one real user listed. I mean, one. Oh God. Wait a second here, though. Authenticated users is in the users group. I wonder what that means. I wonder if I got rid of this one, it would. I have to log off and log on again. Speaking of which, I shall point out, before I do my logging off, that now I'm up to 3. So, and next time it's going to be 4. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure what the best order is. Console logon has got to be not terminal server. So there's terminal server and terminal services. Terminal server Anyway, which way to go? I think I'm gonna get rid of this one first, and I doubt that's gonna have any effect. So that's what I'm gonna do first. Okay. Now I gotta log off. So, see? Okay. I think this picture says it all here. I'm still a member of the group. There are problems with my computer. I think I know what those are. Yesterday I spent the whole day attempting to wipe out a certain thing from my registry. Now I think, well, I think it should be clear that there's no way that this is the reason why I get this, right? Because remember, if that somehow had anything to do with administrators, right? As far as I'm concerned, as an administrator, I would not have access to that directory. And denies override allows. So I think I can safely remove this. And notice we're on number 4 now. But I won't do 2 things at once. We'll just get rid of that one. Now, when this thing's finished trying to fix my problem, I should cancel it. Then I'll log back on again, and certainly I'm still going to be an executive club member. And then it's a matter of trying to figure out which of those 3, or maybe any one of those 3 might be what's responsible. Because those aren't users; those are what they call principals. And principal it's not a user. It's not something that logs on. It's not something on this side. It's something on this side, right? And that might, one of those things, or all of those things, might be putting this entry into my security identifier. Which one? I don't know. But we'll see. Okay. Removing authenticated users got me out of the group. But that still doesn't completely answer the story. Whoops. Terminal server is still there, and what I want to do is add authenticated back. Okay, and remove this one. So now it's just authenticated. So is that enough? Is that all that it takes? Shall see. And the answer, if you can hear me, is yes. Authenticated users is enough. It's the only one on the list. And I'm a member, and everybody else will be a member too of that group. And That's it for that small, tiny section, which is going to follow, not begin the next video, or this video. This part that you're watching now was recorded before the beginning part of this video, which I haven't yet recorded. Okay.